sit down, coming out of PE town. Got a drink, find a shot, never mind your liver, get to Gino's spot.
Gino spot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino spot.
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle, have a Gino shot.
Gino shot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino spot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino spot.
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle, get to Gino's spot.
Gino spot.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Center Stage.
And with that introduction, there we go. We're back for Gino Spot Tuesday, every single Tuesday, although today is Monday. Yes, we know that. That is because I am away this Tuesday. I'm in Cape Town doing I'm doing a gig with Musi Mamani, actually. He's doing a little talk at Bridge House School in Franschhoek. So I will be sipping a bit of wine in Franschhoek tomorrow night, and we are going to rebroadcast this live now for you guys, and we are going to be broadcasting it again tomorrow night as well, a rebroadcast tomorrow night, because tonight is an interesting show. Indeed, it is our very first Sports Biscuit show. Sports Biscuit, of course, Neil Bisseker of erstwhile Algoa FM fame is going to be popping in every now and again and doing a bit of sport. He's obviously been involved in sport and in finding and in searching for all the sports news for so long that I feel that he should really have a platform that he can do it with. And so we've got Sports Biscuit for now that we're going to be doing every now and again, and we'll get Neil on just now that he can talk to you. Welcome everybody. Welcome to the show. Tonight we have Dave Hurr. Dave Hurr from, he's got his fingers in a whole bunch of pies. We're going to discuss that now. We're going to find out what the secret old grey handshake needs to be, and we're going to find out what the cult-like activities of the Old Grey Institute are all about. We'll uncover it here tonight. Indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, and thank you to our sponsors, of course, Spar, who's been sponsoring and helping Gino Spot for the last three odd years now. I think it's 2.5 years. Absolutely amazing. as well as Amobia, our internet support. Nicola and the guys have been, in fact, it was a year, I think it was a year since Nicola's show was on. If you want to have a look at Nicola Smith, heads up Amobia. We had an interesting show, and it popped up the other day in my memories. And then, of course, we have to thank Fitch and Leeds for our prize at the end of the night. All of you that are online at the moment can win a case of Fitch and Leeds if you win our competition at the end. We're going to pick it from all of you. If you make comments in the comments, please put some comments in there. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, because the YouTube channel is the best way to watch our show, our Gino Spot show. You can subscribe to it, and then you click on the bell, and then it reminds you every time, because in case you're ADD, just like me. All right. So tell me what you're drinking. Tell me where you are and where in the world you are. We often have expats saying, "How's it from America?" Or even from Australia. Where's Ronald Minnar? He was always getting up. I think he was getting up in New Zealand at the Sparrows Fart to come and have a squiz and see what's going on in Gino's Spot every single Tuesday. I hope he's up now today. It's Monday. So tell me where you're watching from and what you are doing, or just send me a message and I'll sing your response in the comments. We'll sing the comments for you. We're gonna do a little song. We always do a little song to start. That's right. You shake my nerves and you rat on my brain. Too much love drives a man insane. You broke my will. Oh, Gavin Hogg, where is you today? Dylan Scott, Cooper is here. He says, "Hey, dude, give me the devil sign." That's right. Camilla Ellis says, "Hi, Biscuit. Running late tonight." Brendan Kelly, he says, "Hi, Gino, I'm back. Unfortunately, you've been competing with the IPL for the last couple of weeks. Well, I'm sipping whiskey tonight. I've got a little Fitch and Leeds tonight. Camilla Ellis, a case of Obies would be nice to good. My God, that's a lot to drink. That's right. A whole case of Obies. You're gonna have Camilla Ellis walking around town. I don't know, dancing in the street. Garth Webster, don't you love her, baby? Thank you, God. That's right. Michael Offer, Bella Gino, and Tommy Hurd. That's right. We got Brian Serraio. I'm in Raptors. View Wildlife West Estate in Hoots, break. Having a little Johnny Walker Black. That's a nice one. It's the benchmark of all the Johnny Walkers. That's right. Tracy Watson Gills. Oh, she's back again. You're back, Tracy. Tracy's back indeed. That's Tracy, of course, Olivier now. They just got married. I think Ian Olivier was on our show a little while ago, and they are back from their amazing honeymoon where they went all over the bloody place. You bastards. You bastards, while we were sitting here. Nikki Hur's online. She says, "We do love Chommy Hur lots." I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. And I see Bros Rose as well. Bros Rose says, "Lekker." Lekker. Thank you, guys. Lovely to have you all aboard tonight. We are going to start we're going to start the evening by inviting on my co-host tonight. It's a co-host tonight, but only for tonight because I'm sure. Well, I don't know. We don't know. We might do one together again shortly. But Neil Bisseker, come in over here.
Welcome to the show. Now it's your time to shine. We're gonna have a lekker chat tonight. Another good time.
There we go, Bissy. Are you in? Are you in?
I think
Can
so.
you get in? There we go. We can see each other. You might have to just adjust that camera there, Gary. It's very high. There we go. Bissy, fantastic
Nice
to
to
have
be
you
back.
on. And you know, I said when I heard that your Algoa you'd sort of retired from Algoa, moved on from Algoa to Northfield Engineering, I thought to myself, you know, there is one thing that Bissy's been doing the last, how many years were you there?
25 years that I'll go.
25 years that I'll go. So after 25 years of relentless sports digging and finding people and going to functions, seeing what's going on, I thought to myself, it wouldn't be a good idea for you to keep that, because it's
Well, I
getting
think
part of you.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I was 7 years before that at the SABC. So my wife keeps telling me, Caroline Cash.
Yeah.
It's actually 32 years, Biscuit.
Jeez, like
That is a lifetime.
Yeah.
So to walk away from broadcasting and sport, I mean, it's actually not something that you take on lightly.
no, for sure.
And I still do some MC work at trail runs
Yes.
and mountain biking events and that.
Yeah.
You get that microphone back in your hand, you think, oh,
Hey,
it's so
you go.
lekker. So I appreciate you hauling me out here to the Wild West in Warmer.
I know it's a fantastic road, the Wild West. It's I think it's a great plan, but didn't you find that I mean, you are, because you've been doing it so long, it's become part of your life, and clearly you enjoy sport. I mean, you love sport.
Of course, yeah. I think it's all sports lovers out there will share the fact that you just have this inherent interest.
Yeah.
You know, and I was never a MotoGP fan, for example.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Brad Binder came onto the scene, and
Binder!
I just felt like totally invested in, because he was a South African. What is this guy actually doing? What is the sport all about?
Yeah.
And I was regaling my long-suffering wife the other day about the sprint race and how Binder was doing, because he could go flat out for 10 laps because he didn't have to look after his tires and all this kind of thing. Gillian's saying, where are you getting this from? I'm thinking, well, I'm just like interested, you know. And now MotoGP's got another follower, but it again underscores the importance of South African sports people flying the banner for their sports, because Brad is doing so much for MotoGP, for interest in motorsport. There are countless South Africans doing similar in their sports. You raise the bar in your sport, and I mean, look how it changes the nation.
And also you're going to get all these followers coming in. I'm sure I didn't really watch MotoGP either, but now with Binder in there, I'm like, hey, what's Binder doing? You know, so you get involved in it.
Yeah.
But I mean, in your case, I think you pick up these things because it's a part of your natural, it's your everyday duties almost. You know.
Yes, yeah, no, very much so. I mean, you follow the Luke Jerlings of the world and the Lara Rose on the Sunshine Tour.
Yeah.
Because I'm just interested in what those guys are doing. You know, you follow Malachi France, how incredibly he's doing in running.
The running, yeah.
It's just interesting to see what they're doing, see how our fantastic mountain bikers are doing at the Cape Epic.
Well, now that you're doing mountain
McKenzie and the likes. I mean, it's just wonderful to see what our local sports people are doing, and you don't do it because you have to. You just do it because you want to. I want to see that Chipper United stays in the DSTV Premiership for another season.
Gee whiz, yes.
A vital draw at the weekend,
Yeah.
plus a goal to get that draw. Obviously,
Yeah.
They escaped relegation or the playoffs
Really?
by a goal difference and that 1 point. So again, Chipper United, please next year top 8, just put us out of our misery and be higher.
You know, I think we must
it's part of the stories, you know.
Well, I think this is what you can really put the focus on it with, if you're doing a show every now and again, the Sports Biscuit show. We can use those shows to put the spotlight on these guys. I mean, we can get the Chipper United guys in here, or some of the guys. Maybe
You can only fire 7 coaches a season. You can't go more than.
Is it bad? Hey?
No, look, I don't know how many bought this year,
Jeez,
but it seems to be symptomatic with soccer in particular. I mean, you don't see rugby teams firing their managers all the time, or their coaches.
Yeah.
But for some reason,
They don't give them a chance.
the soccer, you can't get that bond. But you talk about the beautiful stories behind sport.
Yeah.
And I think we need to pay homage to your good friend and supporter Alan Stapleton.
Yeah. Oh,
For
yes.
his-
A hole in one.
For his hole-in-one at your wife's Elson Golf Day.
Elson Golf Day was this weekend, and it's my labor of love I have to do every year, because if I don't do that every year, then I won't see any nookie for another year. So
Well,
I better,
got to do what you got to do.
so I better do that show for free.
So
So the Elson Golf Day.
yeah.
we do.
So talking about well done, Alan. 6 hole at Humewood. What a place to get it on.
Well, bells, man.
So there's a little story. I mean, Alan celebrated. Obviously, bought the boys a round of drinks, but you talk about it. Hole in one is. I mean, they say the chances are 12 million to 1. I mean, I managed to get one at Fancourt many years ago and haven't come close since. But you know, you can at least say you've got it.
And you've got insurance. Everybody's got this insurance.
Yes, yeah.
This insurance that you do, and then you put they pay for whatever the drinks, because you have to ring the bell, and then this whole thing, which I saw when it happened to Stapes. Now Stapes was a bit worried, you know.
Sure.
He was a bit concerned.
But now I'm getting to another hole-in-one story, which a lot of people might not have heard about. But there was a chap. They had the PGA Championship at Oak Hill in the New York area at the weekend. Won at the second major of the year.
Yes.
Won by Brooks Koepka, who's
one of the
who's
live
a
golf-
live golfer.
the live golfer.
So that's even more contentious. But you know the tours need to sort out their nonsense. But be that as it may, so he grabbed the headlines as a live golfer winning his 5th major.
Yeah.
Pretty darn impressive.
Yeah.
But there was a chap in the field, and this is what I love about sport, is the little stories, the human interest stories.
Yeah.
So the PGA Championship is open to PGA club professionals.
Okay.
You obviously have to qualify.
All right.
But if you qualify, you get invited and you play in the field.
Yeah. And you have to make the cut, otherwise you make no money.
Otherwise, you make no money.
Okay.
So you are a professional, but you're not a touring professional. You're a club professional.
Okay.
Like we've got all our
Yes,
club professionals
Titch Moore was here, and I think at that time it was. I just remember these names.
Yes,
The club professionals.
So Tish did play on tour, but you've got the club guys who sit in the pro shop and they organise your lessons. Graham Well at P Golf Club's a good example. You know.
Okay. Graham Well, yes.
Staunch club pros, and they had a chap who played in the PGA. His name was Michael Block.
Okay.
So his day job is looking after a club in the area.
Yeah.
But he qualified for the PGA,
Yeah.
and he's playing in the second to last group last night in the company of Rory McIlroy.
Yeah.
Because Michael Block was playing.
Really?
He was right up there in the top 10 the whole tournament. What does he do last night, or well, our time?
Yeah.
But he gets a hole in one.
Oh, no ways.
So Rory McIlroy, who's this storied, famous fan, I mean, he's probably the most loved golfer in the world.
No, absolutely.
Right now, he says, "Well, I didn't hit very many memorable shots out there today. The most memorable shots came from my playing partner, Michael Block, who became the darling of the PGA Championship.
Wow.
No one had ever heard of this guy before.
So
Ever heard of him? He
get that
finishes in the top 15, which means he automatically gets invited back next year.
Fantastic.
And the sponsors of this week's tournament very wisely decided to give him a sponsor's invite
Quickly, while he's here.
to this week's tournament. So he won't be back behind the counter at the pro shop this week either.
Wow, so he gets
But those are the kind of beautiful stories, and you know, you see the emotions of these guys. I mean, he couldn't believe what was happening to him, and the crowds were just loving the guy. And it happened in the Professional Golfers Association's championship. It happened in the PGA. I mean, you can't actually write these. You can't script these kind of stories.
That you can actually come within one tournament. You can actually just push yourself into that league.
But you create so much excitement and so much love for yourself as a person for the sport.
The underdog.
You inspire so many people. And that's what I've always loved about sport. I've always just loved the human interest stories. I mean that's essentially what sport's all about.
It is. It's like almost like music. I always, people say there's sport and there's music, and the music it breaks down barriers, cultural barriers. I mean, you're playing the same sport. It's the same as with music, where the music gets through the cultural barriers,
Yeah.
you know, and which is what we need as well. So sport is a great way to unite people too.
It's well documented. Absolutely.
You told me about a few things and I don't know, a couple of little
Yes,
sporting
yeah.
tidbits that you had just to whet the appetite.
I think we need to pay homage to a good old mate of mine, Charles Jonk. I don't know if
Yes.
Charles is listening, but he's South Africa's...
Somebody tag Charles Jonk.
Charles Jonk.
Tag him.
He's South Africa's #1 snooker player. And he's from PE. He's right here on our doorstep, and he cleans up at pool. He cleans up at snooker.
Yo.
He won all the major awards at their awards ceremony. Recently, highest break, SA champion, boom, snooker.
Proper snooker, like pool, yeah. I put in pool, yeah.
Yeah, but he can jawl at pool as well.
I'm sure. It's probably a hustler.
And-
You're
yeah.
Pool City, yeah.
You see Charles Jonk walking into the guys' club with his snooker cue, run.
Yeah,
Because he's gonna take
I don't know
it
what he
away.
looks like. I was like, I put 5 rand on there. I'm going to lose it.
But he got named in the SA team, and he's off to the Africa Championships in Morocco in a couple of weeks' time
Okay.
as a member of the SA team. So
Wow.
I think we're all very proud of Charles. I actually shared the news because I still keep getting
messages.
WhatsApps.
Yes, absolutely.
2.5
We must
months
get-
after leaving, I'll go, hey, did you know this?
Yes. Good, I'm glad.
So I'll
I'm
send
glad.
it on to my old colleagues.
Oh,
And
good,
I
good.
miss them and I love them lots. And I actually heard them give Charles a little plug
punch.
on the wireless.
Blank today. Okay. Good,
And then
good.
I got this from she was a spa lady, Wendy Vestrot.
Wendy Vestrot. She
Yeah.
was at Spa indeed.
Yeah.
She's now at Pearson.
Yes, beautiful news. Essa Gangat
Yeah.
has been selected for the SA under-19 cricket team. He's still under 17 and in grade 11, and he was recently named in the team of 15 by Cricket South Africa after the final selection
Under
camp
19.
in Pretoria. The team will travel to Bangladesh for a 5-match 50-over series starting this winter, and Essa is the first ever Pearson player to be selected for this team.
Wow. Well done, Pearson.
So Essa Gangat, watch that name.
Fantastic. We are, you know.
Lovely to hear these stories.
These are the first time he's been chosen, and it's standard 9, eh? Then it's grade 11.
So he's still got a couple
So
more
he's
years.
got a couple more years to go, yeah. I mean, he's in the under-19s. That's pretty much the junior Springboks, isn't it?
Well, absolutely.
Junior Proteas.
We've had so many under-19s that have gone all the way. So.
Yeah. So we hope it's going to do it. Pearson doing so well as well. The school is it's such a big school now.
My daughter was at Pearson,
Yeah.
Gemma down in Cape Town now. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Lovely school.
Look, I would like to have sent her to Grey.
Oh, yeah.
For some reason, it wasn't.
No, we can't do that. But Biscuit, fantastic, lovely to have you aboard, and so please look out for this the Sports Biscuit shows in future as well. We're gonna make sure we do it regularly, and
Sounds good.
Tonight we're doing a bit of both. You can drive this interview, Neil, but we have a special guest on tonight, Dave Hurr from the old the chairman of the national chairman of the Old Grey. Is it Institute? The Institute of Special Handshakes, the Institute of Funny Walks. All right, I don't know if there's a little intro to do.
Ooh, welcome to the show. Now it's your turn to shine. We're gonna have a like a chat tonight. Another good time.
All right, we're in. We're getting our drinks together. It takes a while to get the drinks together. Of course, Neil is
Cheers,
now.
John.
Cheers.
Good to have you.
Welcome. And we were just saying that Neil's now with Northfield Engineering, he's doing the engineering game. And are you enjoying it there?
Learned a lot about rigging and all these beautiful
Yes,
things
like-
and pipe systems and that. But yeah, it's a different game, and
Yeah.
it's nice to actually get out into the real world. You
Yeah,
know? You can actually see the kind of things that Northfield is doing to actually keep the metro ticking over.
Yeah.
In terms of a lot of stuff in big industry.
Large company.
Yeah,
It's-
and the kind of guys that I'm working with, I mean, they really are amazing. Just very quickly, we had a big manufacturer the other day removing some transformers.
Yeah.
These were old transformers that a guy had bought on tender up in Joburg.
Yeah.
And he wanted these old transformers, which his company wasn't using.
Yeah.
And to watch the NF Hire team, to watch that team get those transformers out the ground, chopped up onto the back of our low bed. There was no shouting and you do this, you do that, you do. It was like a choreographed piece of dance theatre. These guys, they just knew their place, knew what to do.
Yeah, what a win.
And you think, okay, this is. I'm now involved in the real world all of a sudden. Although it was great fun, it was obviously, I suppose, entertainment information industry.
Yeah.
Now I'm involved in a family-owned engineering firm that is doing real stuff. You know,
It is amazing, and totally different
which is
tack, you know.
which is very exciting. So.
And you've also got a sort of a family business going on, the Hurrs, eh?
Yeah,
Is that your family business, your business that you're in is computers, isn't it?
Yeah, we're in the IT trade. Specialized in payrolls, Gino. And,
Payrolls.
Payrolls.
Yeah,
Important.
my dad started it in the mid-80s. And, and it's gone from strength to strength.
Yeah.
Been very blessed with lots of wonderful clients. Some really, really great people. Most of them become very close friends of mine.
Yes.
And I love the relationship I have with all of them. Yeah, no, it's incredible. Yeah,
Well, it's certainly about relationships. Any business, we always say this. I know I've said it before. It's like a and we need to support one another.
Absolutely.
Always support the local guys. Support your people around you. You know. Because it doesn't matter what the rest of the world is doing out there. If we support each other, we're at least going to survive whatever we need to, you know.
And I think it's so key that you don't go running off to Joburg to go and buy your next computer. You buy it from
that's it.
you buy it from a
payroll.
local company. Yeah.
That's like, is it software?
Yeah, we do mainly software stuff. Companies outsource their payrolls to us.
Okay.
And and then we do all the processing and do all the tax returns.
It sounds like
stuff.
it sounds like something that everybody's going to moan at you about.
Can be a fairly taxing affair.
I'm sure it can.
But very blessed to have lots of very, very nice clients who, as I say, really, really look after us. Very major part of Port Elizabeth. Work a lot in the Pretoria and Joburg too, but obviously very much Port Elizabeth based, and very grateful for what our clients do for us and how they look after us. So very grateful. Thanks.
And Dave, you probably arguably better known for what you do in the old grey space. So I think that's where the stories lie. We've all got to earn our bread and butter as you've just described. But you were telling us off air that it all started with a certain hockey club, and before you knew it, you were in deep, eh?
Yeah, Neil, I know that one of your previous guys on here, Gavin Hogg.
Yes, he's on here tonight.
Yeah,
I'm sure. We must actually look at some of these comments just
Gary,
now.
absolute blooming legend in Port Elizabeth, as far as I'm cared.
Boss.
Wonderful, wonderful human being. A very honourable man too. Somebody I've spent probably my entire life with in a sporting environment. Dragged me into Pirates hockey at the age of, I was trying to work it out quickly, 1981.
Yo.
And was the first guy to shake my hand when I walked in, and offered me a place in the schoolboy side at Pirates. And I went from strength to strength. Obviously, while you do your tertiary education, you play for your club there, but obviously returned back to Pirates. And 1992 ended up with joining the committee, eventually became the club captain, and then what they call the president of Pirates. Pirates there in Westview Drive next to the PE Golf Club. The pioneers of business in Port Elizabeth honestly belong to the club. Fantastic place. And in 1996, we decided at our 60th reunion to have a big dinner to raise money, as the municipality in those days allowed you to purchase the ground at a for sports and recreation, and
Okay.
we went ahead with it. And
Did you buy that ground?
yeah, we ended up buying the ground after having a function, that we did down in the Feather Market Centre.
Yeah.
And I suppose I wish I could remember who the band was, and I think you mentioned
Mischief. You said it was yeah, because from the Chinese community here as well
That's
at
right.
that time.
That's
But
right.
the one guy that wasn't Chinese was Chris Dexton, who was a mate of mine who was bass player, worked at Delta. And everybody always thought he was Chinese because he was just playing with the Chinese. It was Larry Wong and the guys from the band, Cecily Wong, his wife, Shabby's late Cecily Wong, but a great band. So they were playing that night.
We couldn't get anybody to go home.
Yeah,
That was the problem.
They were a great band.
The guys,
really
it
good.
was an evening ball gown evening in bow ties and long dresses and everything, and we actually couldn't get anybody to go home. That's how big a problem it was. And it was.
Oh, there we go. So some comments popping up already, Dave. We're not going to get away from the comments tonight. Grant Botton says, "How's it?" He says, "Tell us a story about the Argentinian hockey team you played against."
Yeah. Probably one of the more embarrassing things that ever happened with Pirates was, and also cannot remember. I think his name was the head of Steve Jaspin. I can't actually remember, but head of South African hockey.
Oh, okay, somebody will put it there. Someone put it in the comments.
Phoned Pirates on a red ticky box that we had and said, "There's a team arriving in Port Elizabeth. Please, could you host these guys, host this team, and look after them, and really see that they get looked after. Nice South African bra, and they'd like a nice hockey match.
And they're Argentinians.
And they were Argentinians. Anyway, the bus turned into Westview Drive, and it came down there, and really it wasn't a bunch of men, it was a bunch of girls.
Like
Anyway,
a
the gentlemen that we were,
yes, of course.
the gentlemen that we were.
Oh, all of a sudden it's got better up the game.
No, I can't even remember how we played it, but I think we actually got beat.
Really?
That was a great side, yeah. Very funny, yeah.
Well, I'm sure it was. They were very pleased to have a bunch of girls. It was probably much more fun than they thought.
And then the old grey union stuff. Did that sort of morph from that experience into sort of being involved in administration to a point?
Neil, what really happened was, I think your hockey career comes to an end. I've been playing hockey for a number of years. I also played cricket and squash for Old Grey. I always had a very strong allegiance to Old Grey, but for reasons that I won't mention, I spent my hockey career at Pirates and my cricket and squash career at Old Grey. Interesting to note that Gavin Hogg actually was skipper of one of the squash sides I played for, and we only played on Thursday nights, and that was only so that we could bra.
Oh, really? Because they were the only lot of brown.
And we won that league for many, many years, actually. We were a bunch of ringers, and and it was an exceptional amount of fun that we had. And it went on for years and years and years. We had some very, very good sports people that played for us in that team. Yeah, a lot of the EP cricketers used to come and play with us.
Okay.
We played 8th league.
Not Fires, surely.
No, not Fires.
Fires doesn't do squash. I don't think he does
I
squash.
remember Flight Fenter was one of them. Martin Fenter opened the
Oh,
building,
yes.
Yeah, so he played with us, played in our team there. But the main thing was that there was a gent by the name of Trevor Wells. His son Brent was at school with Biss and I.
Yeah.
And his dad made the best steak bra you've ever had. And that was why we had to stick to a Thursday. So it was countless amounts of beer. I remember getting home at 4:45 one morning from Jeffreys Bay. We got involved with some fishermen after a match there, and I think we were beat as well. But they beat us in the bar too.
As well. They didn't just stop there.
Yeah.
And look at Old Grey today. I mean, we obviously had our founders weekend against Wynberg. We had 5,000 people on the Khaleesi field.
Amazing.
And you look at what Old Grey or what the Grey stands for in terms of these founders weekends, and you just got Grey boys from all over the world coming, and then you've got the Old Grey club going until the sun comes up the next morning. But the Old Grey club has really sort of just gone from strength to strength. Now you've got your paddle tennis there. So maybe just bring guys up to speed as to what's happening in Old Grey, because you can't park there anymore because you've got these glass courts there.
Yeah, that's true.
I have to tell you, parking is not a subject I like to talk
No,
about.
I get it.
But Neil, I think to do that we'd have to go back a little bit, into the early 2000s. A very, very close friend of certainly my dad's, chaplain Johnny Lynch, took over the Old Grey club. And the Old Grey Union, you need to understand how it works, but the Old Grey Union is actually the head. And under that, we own an asset of ours is the Old Grey Club. So we oversee it financially, etc., etc. And Johnny Lynch wanted to bump up the Old Grey Union, the old boys. And he took it over and handed it over. He took it over and he set the wheels in motion, and then he wanted some young bucks to join him, and that happened to end up being a very close friend of mine, Gary Sim. You'd know Gary from the 1982 class at Grey. You'd know him, Gino.
Yes, I know Gary. I've seen him there.
Absolute legend at Old Grey.
Absolutely, right.
Ran the Old Grey club for many years. He put a process in place of outsourcing the club and getting a rental in. And I think a very brave move at the time, but a very sensible move. And Johnny Lynch ran with it, and he was then followed by a gent by the name of Brian Knox. Brian from Blasting Excavating days. Okay. Also quite a well-known personality in
blow stuff up.
Yeah, likes to blow things up.
Yes, like
dams and things, and roads and everything. Very
quite a job.
Lovely guy.
What was he like at school?
Explosive personality.
Well, the school's still there.
Yeah, it's still there. So it survived him.
So Brian then took over from Johnny. Unfortunately, Johnny got seriously ill and then passed. But a very good human being, and Brian took over from him, and we then formed a thing called the Grey Foundation, and we needed a way to try and find a way that we could look into creating an income stream to be able to support bursaries and look after kids that actually need that help and need a Model C education, which we believe and still believe very strongly in would benefit the community of South Africa. Brian took us over, and I then stood in as national president for him. And Brian and I have worked as a tag team very closely. And Gary Sim obviously upgrading the club as he could financially find resources to do.
Yeah.
So I actually believe the rebirth of the club started with Gary. I think the Grey Foundation, the rebirth of that. Interestingly, my dad actually started the Grey Foundation, which in the old days was called the Grey Institute Development Trust in the late 70s.
Okay.
And and it's gone from strength to strength. Today
So I mean, before there was just kind of an old scholars thing or something, probably.
Very much
but,
so.
but it really got organised.
Yeah.
It is part of the I mean, Grey as a school. It's an amazing school. It is, and it's I mean, I'm at VP and I was VP boy and I see how they are organising these old scholars things. Because before they were really not organised as such. They didn't actually concentrate on there were a whole bunch of these old scholars that were just out there, and they might come and support the school here if there was a derby day or something, or but it wasn't organised into any sort of club, And so
I think Grey's probably got one of the strongest sort of old boy systems in the country because of the guys like Dave Hurr.
Yeah, Neil, it's a collective effort. Let me tell you, I've got a very strong committee that sit around us. We've got a very good person that looks after us in Lauren McClelland. And with her, she's got two ladies in the Grey Foundation who also do a lot. Make no mistake, it's been a team effort. It's not a Dave Hurr's effort. It's a team effort on behalf of all them. But I think I think the thing that I would say would be what we are most proud of, and certainly me in my personal capacity, would be that we haven't only focused on Grey. I think we've also tried to help other schools. The previous rector of Grey, Neil Crawford. I've got a very good friend who's part of Folk School in Grahamstown.
Okay.
And I phoned Neil and I said, "How are you doing?" And he said, "Yeah, Dave, it's been quite a change and everything." And I said, "Well, wouldn't you consider going and having a look at Folk School?" And he said, "By all means." And he went up there and spent a lot of time with their student governing body, commonly called the SGB, and helped them and advised them and everything. And I'm privileged to say I've actually just come back from a fundraising function at Folk School this past weekend.
Fantastic.
And 12 of us left PE and went to their fundraiser this weekend, and unbelievable to see how well they're doing. And Neil now even sits on the board at Woodridge, and I keep saying that I think it's so important for schools to all be like-minded and all be strong in your vicinity. Grey needs somebody to play sport against on a Saturday and a Wednesday, and these days travelling has become excessively expensive. For people to travel to Cape Town. People, we've just had the Queen's Derby this weekend. You've got to move 500 people up, plus the parents, for a weekend of sport. It's an impressive scene and costly. So I think it's important that we have strong VPs and Westrings and Fransbys and Pearsons.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, we do.
Forgive me if I leave anybody out, but I think you get the drift of what I'm trying to say.
In PE, though, it's for sure, we've got a lot of strong schools in PE. I mean, when we had to choose for our kids as well, there are a lot of options out there.
And the old adage is, the better the competition, the more competition there is, the healthier it is.
The better the whole, yeah.
Absolutely.
And not every school can offer bursaries for want of a myriad of reasons. But you touched on the bursaries, you try and give away what, 70 bursaries, somewhere around there?
Yeah, we at the moment we're around about 70 bursaries across.
That's a lot of bursaries.
Yeah, it is, Neil. My hat's off to people like Brian Knox and Andrew Bradley. Andrew Bradley is Cape Town and London-based old boy, who's now the chairman of the Grey Foundation. Works, Also, the other thing to also remember is all these guys that work like this, all working in honorarium, man. There's no cash incentive to anybody. And I think that must always be spelt out very clearly too. These guys give up a huge amount of time to try and look after people, and to try and see that we get the kid who is a deserving recipient of a bursary. And a lot of people always say, "It's just rugby." Well, it's not actually. It's absolutely not. It's academic. It's music. It's across the broad spectrum of all of the entire school, and I think that's what we've got. That's right. Do we make mistakes? Of course we do. Of course we do. But I think the important thing is we try and learn from them all the time, and our old boys keep us honest, and that's what I appreciate.
And the fact is that you've been the national president of the Old Grey Union for you were saying how many terms? 3.5 terms.
Well,
it's a big responsibility, Dave, but clearly something that you've loved doing. I mean, you put your hand up, and there was obviously a process to get where you did. But the fact that you stuck it out and said not 1 term, not 2 terms, 3, going on 4 terms as the national president of a wonderful institution must be massively rewarding, and I'm sure you can look back very fondly on your journey.
No, I can. It's been an incredible journey. It really has. It's been but it came with a lot of support from a lot of people. Wives, kids, moms, dads, my entire family in the support. It's been a wonderful journey. I will say that we've had a hell of a lot of fun along the way too.
So touch on some of the fun stuff. Taxi rides and the like. We got a little bit of insight before the show.
I think I'll give you the story that for me will be a highlight for me for the rest of my life. But before I say it, I've also been very privileged to have dealt with 2 headmasters and 2 rectors. For those people that don't understand, the headmaster is the headmaster of the junior school, and the rector is the headmaster, the headmaster of the senior school. And because it's called an institute, his title is rector.
Okay.
And I had dealt with Lindsay Pearson initially, and then Grant Butler, and then Neil Crawford, followed by Chris Erasmus. So I I don't actually think there are too many of us that could say they've had to deal with it. Yeah. My heart's bled for both of them. Taking over both of them in the middle of COVID.
Sure. And
I think if either of those two were ever interviewed by you, I think their proudest moment is they've never missed a day of school.
Sure.
So, my hat's off to both those guys for how they managed to clean that up, Yeah.
We have to get them on.
Yeah. But, we, as I said, and obviously we don't want this thing to all be serious, but one of my real funny stories that I dealt with in my entire life was we've got Lauren, and Lauren is our employee of the Old Boys, and she's taken us to new levels since Ian Pringle resigned or retired. And Lauren is technologically way more advanced than all of us.
Okay.
And we were standing outside Old Johnny's, and she turned to Brian Knox. And
where's Old Johnny's?
Old Johnny's in Johannesburg.
In Johannesburg? Is that a pub? Or?
Yeah, no, it's a club.
A club?
Yeah.
Old Johnny's?
Yes, we had our Old Boys dinner
nice
there.
Club, eh?
We'd had our Old Boys dinner there.
Okay.
And wonderful castle.
Yeah, lovely.
Wonderful.
One of Fires' is castle.
Yeah, one of Fires is castle.
Sorry, Fires, we just had some of your castle.
Thanks, Fires. And
there you go, it says when the beer's empty. What was that? Dave's beer's empty. We'll get another one. Don't worry, Grant.
Dave's beer's empty. Yeah. Thanks, Grant. And Lauren turned to Brian and she said, I'm tired of having to do everything for you old beggars. Won't you please order the Uber? Anyway, Brian said, absolutely no problem. Pulled out his phone and sort of, after a bottle of red wine and a couple of beers, ordered us an Uber. And his phone made the noise of money going out of it, ching, ching, like that. And he looked at the bill, and it was 13,544 rand. And Brian suddenly realized he'd ordered an Uber from Johannesburg to his farm in Bedford. Anyway, so we pulled Brian apart for years about this, and it went on and on.
Imagine him sleeping in the back. Hey, but where we going? No, you said I'm going to Bedford. We're going to Bedford.
So anyway, this went on for years. But Chris Erasmus, the director of Grey, wanted to introduce Robbie Kenson to the Cape Town community as the new director of rugby at Grey. So we invited Robbie to our Old Boys dinner in Cape Town.
Okay.
And at about 8 o'clock, we suddenly got very hungry. And we decided, no, we want to go to a restaurant on our way home. So we went to this restaurant, trying to keep the story short.
No, no rules here.
And after several bottles of wine at the table, the five of us are sitting there. And Robbie and Lauren said to me, Dave, it's your turn to order an Uber. So I said to the waitress as I was walking out, there's two entrances to the restaurant. There's this entrance and one on the left. So the waitress said to me, where are you going? And I said, to this bed and breakfast. She said, well, go out that door on the left. So we went out the door on the left, and and we stood there in the driveway for 20 minutes waiting for the Uber to arrive. And the Uber arrived, and this guy got out the car, and he had to rearrange his whole car because there were five of us. He had to put down another seat and everything and rearrange his whole car. But all the time he kept looking at me like I was absolutely not with the game. And anyway, I didn't look at my phone. So we took off, and we only took off in one gear. I paced it. It was 13.7 paces. When he stopped and said, you've arrived at your destination. And it cost me 13 Rand 50.
Yes, like,
that is so bad.
13 meters down the road. Let's have a quick look at these things before we get to the next ones here. Bissy, let's have a look at some of these things. Please say hi to Dave and Neil from me, watching all the way in the USA. Stuart Washington, thank you. Stewie indeed. And Stapes was never invited. Where was that?
Oh, but we talked about you, Stapes.
Yes, we spoke about you. Yeah, we did. About your hole-in-one, Stapes. And let me tell you, his hole-in-one, he had to wait until the end of the night. He was happy that I was doing the MC work because it went quite late and a lot of the guys had gone by the time he rang the bell. I think he was worried about that.
He still owes us one.
He still owes a beer, Stapes. Vessel Ludbud says, lekker Dave. Are these mates of yours? There's Gavin.
Gavin Hogg, come on, warmer.
Come on, warmer.
I think that is synonymous with Gavin Hogg. One of the proudest warmer sports club men I know.
Really?
And was absolutely devastated when their cricket and hockey sections closed down. What more can I say about Gavin Hogg?
No,
Just talking about Gavin Hogg, we were at Old Grey the other day having a little meeting, and there's Sarah Boss all over the wall. He's obviously put quite a lot of memorabilia there.
Yeah.
And I look out the door, and there's Gavin Hogg and his mates. Dave Emsley was among the four ball. I don't know what you call them, or the quartet playing pedal ball, but having a whale of a time.
Yeah.
So we touched on it, but just tell us about the paddle ball and the likes of Gavin Hogg and Dave Emsley and Brad Miller. I mean, these guys are playing the sport like it's the next big thing.
Yeah, Neil, it started with a guy by the name of Graham Hull, and Gramps. You know Graham? Superb guy. Really a good, also very involved in tennis in Port Elizabeth. I think it was originally at the Oval. And
He used to be part of the Westbourne Oval.
Westbourne Oval, and I think they've had some legendary parties there.
Oh, geez, like Oval.
I've had been to a few
Oval
there.
Tennis Club. If you want to meet new people and have a good party, that's the place to go. Good Lord.
Yeah, so he phoned me up one day and he said, we're interested in having a look at this, bringing paddle tennis to Port Elizabeth, and could we have a chat? And we went and had a chat, and it sort of rolled along and bumbled along, and then a mate of mine, I hope he doesn't mind if I mention his name, but Lance Charles, he phoned me up one evening and he said, listen, get your act together, yeah? Because if you don't, you're going to lose it. And I phoned Graham the next morning, and I said, Graham, we need to sit. And, up until then, I had always thought it was sort of a little bit of pie in the sky, to be honest. And anyway, this animal started.
Really?
And I take my hat off to Africa Paddle. They believed in Old Grey. They came to the party financially. They helped us, they've helped us a lot with paving the whole new area.
Mm-hmm. You've got these two beautiful
We've got these two beautiful courts there.
glass-backed courts, Gino. You can see it right through your opponent.
Wow. Okay, so it's like a mixture between tennis and squash or something.
You're chatting to the guys who are really in the know on it, a guy like Graham, and I want to also just mention Patrick Gruer. Patrick Gruer is the ambassador to Africa Paddle for Port Elizabeth. Also, probably, I hope Patrick's listening, but
Somebody tag Patrick Gruer.
He's always kept me in the loop.
Patrick is one of those guys that when he's going to something, he's going at 15 out of 10 at it, and he's just, he doesn't care how it happens, but he's going to get it to get done, And also, his dedication to get it working is just unbelievable. And and this engine started, and these guys arrived. They believed in us, and they gave all the contractors, the PE contractors, the work to do, which I thought was phenomenal.
So that was like a franchise? Is that how it works? Is it like Africa Paddle is this whole company, because it's an international thing, isn't it? As well.
Yeah. It is. I probably am out of my depth in passing the next comment, but I think it's one of the fastest growing sports in the world today.
I'm sure.
Unreal.
I've had a brief hit. I haven't really considered I've played a game. I'm definitely going to start playing it. I would have said, Graham says it's 70% tennis, 30% squash.
Okay.
Some of my mates all reckon it's 70% squash and 30% tennis. So I played both, not very well, but I played both. But I'll let you know shortly what I think.
So it's the best of both worlds in those two sports, is what they're probably arguing.
It is. And I think certainly for somebody like me who carries quite a lot of injuries and everything, I think it's something that you can actually play and enjoy it.
And I mean, just watching the
it's
guys,
gentle on the body.
but they're working up a sweat. It's not like the guys are just parking off. They're working properly.
Nicky says it's brought lots of life to Old Grey as well.
No, without doubt.
Yeah.
It's been wonderful, and it's how do we book a paddle game? Is it only for? Definitely not, Philippa. Definitely not. You can get onto the app called Playtomic, And because I know who you are, Philippa, I will make sure that I will
you're
offer you
in the know.
a free game of paddle tennis at Old Grey. But no, you don't have to be an Old Grey member. It does benefit you from a discount point of view, but if you can still book going onto their app called Playtomic.
And then they've got their like little pro shop, for want of a better description.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
very
can
much,
hire the
yeah.
little racket.
Oh, you
and
could hire, because you got to hire the. I mean, are the rackets expensive? I suppose they
apparently
could.
the top ones are not cheap.
No, they're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
cheap.
No, I
The top stuff is not cheap.
Yeah,
but
but you
the
can get
stuff
in.
for us
Yeah.
average Joes is acceptable.
As
And-
hackers.
Yeah, and I think the thing that impressed me the most was after how I haven't hit a squash ball in 15 years.
Yeah.
You can see,
I didn't notice.
and I haven't played tennis for many years.
Yeah.
But you can actually, everybody can play it.
Yeah,
I think that's
okay,
the unbelievable. It's very forgiving.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's a very forgiving game, wonderful game to play.
We had a meeting there at 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't know why Northfield's having all their meetings at Old Grey.
Oh, right,
What a
okay.
pleasure.
That's
But
the dop, Neil.
We had
That's
an
the
8
dop.
o'clock Friday morning meeting there, and the guys were playing. 8 o'clock in the morning, the guys
Yeah.
were having their morning workout before they
Yeah.
go off to the office. And it's sort of right next to the restaurant, so it's quite entertaining to watch the sort of action happening literally on the other side of the pane of glass, But
Right.
there they were, 8 o'clock in the morning playing paddle.
I think that all sport these days has become almost instantaneous. People want a fast game.
Yeah.
It must have results. It must have.
Yes.
I hope I don't get shot down in flames for it. But what I'm saying, but you go down to a place like Western Province Cricket Club and everything's linked to the club. There's
Yeah.
squash clubs linked.
Yes.
And I take my hats off to the architects, a chap Peter Simmons, who Sketchbox, who who put the whole thing together of his vision and his and we've got the restaurant, and he said put a big window in there, and along with Africa Paddle. He designed it. He's an Old Grey Union.
The architects love to talk like that, They always like the language of the club has to tie in with the language of the courts. That's how they talk. Double volume here.
Pete, I'll discuss it with him now. No, but I mean, when you actually see what Peter did, it is phenomenal.
It's really good.
And the whole club flows into it.
Does
And
it?
we've just redone the deck in the front now, which is going to be even nicer.
Yes, the Fitch and Leeds deck.
Yes,
Gary
Gary
de Bruin has done amazing things there as well.
Bit of a race against time ahead of the reunion weekend.
Gee whiz.
Don't tell me, Neil. It was, it really was. And maybe it's time that I just say a little bit, because it's unbelievable when over the years that I've been doing this, and I'm going back to the Pirates days, the 1992, and coming forward. I'm so scared of mentioning names as to people who've helped me, because I would let everybody down. But
You'd forget
You'd
off.
forget.
no, I would, and I really don't want to offend anybody and make a mistake. But I just look at what these guys have done. Spa. And I had the absolute privilege of meeting a gent by the name of Peter Hughes.
Yes.
2 weeks ago at the Grey Reunion, and he wrote me a very nice email afterwards. What an absolute gentleman! He's a previous chairman and CEO of SPA.
Oh, Spa as well. Yeah.
Lives in Cape Town.
I'm sure
Absolute
Stapes will know him
gentleman.
then, because
I'm sure he will.
Stapes
And-
has been there forever and a day.
Yeah. But and then you meet you see this Fitch and Leeds here, and Gary
Yeah.
de Bruin,
Yeah.
and Gavin Hogg with Cerebos, and
Yeah.
I'm so scared of mentioning names, because I just know I'm going to make a mess of it. So yeah.
So I mean, what you're saying is that's probably the most enriching part of this whole journey is the people that you've encountered.
The
on
people
way.
have given.
Yeah.
It's the people that have given.
Yeah.
Some people can't give it financially; they give it with time.
Yeah.
When I look at my Old Grey Union committee, those guys have been dedicated.
Yeah.
They've dedicated their personal time. Other guys can do it financially, and they make things happen. Because of that, and we can drive with it. And for me, it's made the whole journey worthwhile. It's really made it worthwhile. and hopefully one day there'll be a bunch of kids that will have finished at a school like Grey and be very proud of where they've got to, because of it, getting that education. So, yeah.
Are the school
Long-
kids going
long live
to
the Grey.
play paddle as well? Are the school kids going to play paddle? I wonder.
They're entitled. It's not going to be an official school sport, but it is definitely a sport that they're welcome to play.
Until it gets the Olympic recognition.
Talking
But
about
these
the
things
new,
are-
I mean, this is obviously quite a new sport.
Yes.
We've got a little bit of a walk down memory lane as well when we talk about. Both of you were involved in the Seagull outboard motors race down at St. Francis. So
Yes.
for folk who might not have heard of a seagull,
Yes.
not the thing that flies in the air, but something that helps your boat fly, David. That sounds like a heap of fun.
Got it.
But there's a history to these beautiful motors, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. There's a very big history. I think probably if you really want to get the real truth out the whole thing, you need to get a guy like Dale Cunningham from
Yes.
Kenton, yeah?
Yes.
Oh, Dale,
Yeah,
yes.
Dale, yes.
And get Dale on there.
Somebody tag Dale because we need to have him in sometime talking
Yeah,
about
you
the
need to.
Seagull Regatta.
Yeah, and Dale, the Butt family, and again, I'm probably out of line again, but the Butt family, I think, had a regatta every year in memory of the vintage Seagulls. And the Seagulls had a lot to do with the extraction of troops in the World War II, where the Admiral had said, anybody with a boat go and help fetch people.
Yes, of course.
D-Day.
A D-Day,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, was it D-Day?
No,
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 the
no,
D-Day,
no,
the other one.
Dunkirk.
The
It was
Dunkirk.
Dunkirk.
Dunkirk. Yeah, we had to rescue
Yeah.
all those soldiers coming out. And they said,
in
literally
any kind
said,
of floating
they
craft,
literally
yeah.
said, any kind of craft, get across the channel and fetch our boys. And there was this whole, and all these guys, went, and they went across with seagulls. The Seagull motor is just to explain as well for the guys. It's I mean my one that I got from my Italian grandfather is 1946. So but they go down to the early 30s and 20s. I mean they're really old motors, and they've got this spinning like a flywheel on the top. So it's a thing that spins around at a Morse rate, and then you wind around the rope with a piece of wood on it, and you get everything right. You got to put the petrol in. You got to
Make sure you pump some petrol.
Pump some petrol in.
Pump
and
some
then
petrol.
do the choke or whatever. Some of them got chokes, some of them haven't got chokes, whatever. And then you pull this thing, and it just flies. So if your rope gets caught in this thing, you're going to be decapitated. So you got to just make sure everything's right, like a pulling your parachute. And you get this thing going, and then we have the what we call what Dave said to me that it had to be called a display, the Seagull display.
Not an event.
Yeah, not an event or not a race or a regatta, because then the municipality doesn't like that. You have to then get special, so it has to be a display. But just as a secret, we did race.
So you went, you went up and down the crommer bit, did you?
Yeah.
Lovely. Beautiful.
One of the funny things about this last one, Gino, that you actually helped me with down there at St. Francis the other day was we knew that there was a big Wesley coming up, and we did, and the canal riparians gave us the opportunity to drive our boats through their canals and back out and back up the river to our house at the top, and we knew that there was a big southwester coming up, and we warned everybody that anybody with small boats perhaps shouldn't go. Anyway, everybody left.
Everybody left.
Everybody left. And
We're going. Everyone went.
yeah, and there was just a fantastic opportunity for a guy in Grahamstown, Don Chandler.
Yes.
He started his engine, just like you said, started it, and it blew the entire carburetor off the side of the engine when it backfired. So anyway, so we went through the canals, and on the way back, and for the life of me, I cannot remember his name right now, but they sank.
Yes. They were.
And they went to the bottom. Their boat sank. And anyway, he swam around it 3 times. And he comes from Kumcha. In Kumcha. Yeah. And anyway, so he swam around his boat 3 times. When the police boat came up to him and said to him, "Sir, why don't you just stand up?" And he stood up and he was waist deep.
They're swimming around. I can't stand. Oh, okay, I can't stand.
And he said, anyway, can I take the story a little further?
Yeah.
Anyway, Nicholas, when he got into the police boat, this old gent, he's 82.
Yeah.
He said to Nicholas, do you realize that that's the first time I've swum in 40 years? And he swam around his boat 3 times. He took his shirt off and he had a gun. His 38 special on his chest. And Nicholas jumped into the river to get away from him.
Sure. I remember that. I saw him cleaning it on the side of the river.
Then people said, is this normal?
Yes, licensed. It's licensed. Oh my soul, insane. I see Tracy Watson there. Tracy Oliver is saying something about the thing. I remember I'm looking for a Seagull racer. Oh yes. Yes, Ian, you've got to do it. He wants to come and do the race. It's Ian Olivier there on his wife, on his new wife's thing. He's already taken over a bloody Facebook. You see that? That's what happens when you get married.
So now, how accessible is it to get your hands on a Seagull?
Neil,
Not
to
easy.
find a Seagull is not easy at the moment. The guys are even importing them from
England, yeah.
From England, yeah. And
But they hire them, don't they? Some guys hire them.
you know,
Borrow
I'd hate to say hire, yeah.
Borrow.
I think borrow, yeah. I think the easiest way is phone Dale Cunningham and borrow one from him.
Because they've got these guys that have got like 50 of them. You know, they collect them because I presume it's a good investment. I hope so, because then I've got one, so we're going to see how much.
Yeah, I know.
$1 million.
Yeah. I've just come back from Grahamstown this weekend. Gordon Wright.
Oh, there we go, Gordon.
Hey, Gords.
Gordon's a chef.
He's a great chef.
And most importantly, people that are watching, Gordon and Rose, his wife, is actually the organizer of the Stoep and Stoep tasting.
Stoep tasting this weekend.
In Grahamstown and in New Bethesda.
Yeah.
Is it coming this weekend?
I think it's this coming
Is
weekend.
it coming? When is
I'm
it,
sure it's
Gordon?
this weekend.
When is it? Post the dates there for us. Nikki says, Chommy, tell us about the guys who got to Grahamstown with something missing.
Oh, yes. Yeah. The Seagull race last year. So
last year.
14,
I missed
15
that
months ago. You
the
missed
COVID
it.
one.
Yes, you must never miss another one.
My uncle had COVID. I couldn't do it. Yeah, that's why.
Okay.
Yeah, but he need a broken leg this year.
The very same guy I spoke about who blew his carburetor off the engine got to Nanacha. And you can't go past Nanacha. It's 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning. You have to have a pie. And a coffee.
Obligatory.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Stopped there, and they both walked out, and they looked at their car, and they were trying to work out what the hell has happened here. They haven't got a boat. Oh, and it's Don Chandler and his CJ, his son. They'd both forgotten to hitch it.
Oh,
and they'd driven off from Grahamstown without hitching their boat on.
They were still at home.
Yeah, so they went all the way back and came all the way back again.
And they realised, they took him to Nanaka to realise.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Jeez, like.
Yeah, I want to go back to Gordon Wright there.
Yes. This weekend.
I've got a wonderful.
Sure.
There we go. One of the most fantastic things. Dean Barclay, the doctor, the ophthalmologist with the iron laser.
Yeah, iron laser.
One of our classmates.
One of our classmates.
Okay. Class 84.
We went up to, if I could say, a little boys' weekend, a little hunting trip outside Grahamstown. And we arrived in Grahamstown on the Friday evening, and there was absolute chaos going on. And it was the very first wine tasting, stoop tasting.
Yeah.
And Dean Barclay was asked by the optometrist there in Grahamstown,
Yes.
could you please take a raffle ticket?
Okay.
So Dean said to him, how much are the raffle tickets? So he said, they are £1 each. So he said, what do I win? He said, a bottle of whiskey. So he said, how many tickets are there? He said, 1,000. He says, I'll take all 1,000. so we bought 1,000 rands of the raffle tickets.
Excellent.
And I can reliably tell you that between Dean and I, it's the first thing we've ever won in our lives. And we won a bottle of whiskey.
And no other people. No. Remember Don Charlie was a round table with me in the 80s, so it was a round table.
Oh, weird,
Didn't your dad start a round table?
My dad was on the founders of Table 108. Yeah. and was one of the head honchos of Melodrama, the Peanut Show.
Peanut Show, yes.
Man,
Loud
wasn't that
music
cool?
and a sweeper.
Yes,
Remember the
yes,
sweeper?
the people used to get, yes, you had to wear, I don't know if you remember the Melodrama stuff, but man, you'd get a burger, something in a like a plastic thing, you get a burger, and then you get a pile of nuts.
Yeah.
And you
just threw them.
pelted.
Yeah, you wonder how anybody's got any hours left.
I know.
So Dave, with this whole adventure sort of winding down in terms of this chapter in the life of David Hurr, is it going to leave a big gap? Have you even thought what's life going to be like after national president of the Old Grey Union?
Neil, I haven't really thought about it too much, to be honest. I think I'm still going to perform some sort of job for the old boys. Not sure what they want me to do yet.
Because it's in your blood after all, man.
Yeah, I have to give the incoming president his space to work in. I think he is going to be exceptionally good. His name is Max Vanderpoel. Obviously, he's got to be voted in AGM. But, you know, I will be there to help him where I can. I will give him as much support as I can. I'm hoping I'll be able to do a bit more stuff that, you know, kids and wives want to do.
Yeah.
And my wife wants to do, and Beth. You know, so I haven't really given it a hell of a lot of thought. Maybe we'll organise a few more Seagull regattas.
There we go. Fantastic.
This job or role, it took you overseas quite a bit to some of the other
Yeah, London.
grey unions.
Yeah,
or
London.
Old Greys.
Yeah, I never did the New York trip, which perhaps would have been one that I would love to have done. I was offered the opportunity to go to the Old Boys dinner in London, in New York, sorry. Did the London trip, unbelievable, really was unbelievable.
That's been amazing.
Going there, yeah. Was homed with an old boy friend of mine, Leslie Bergman. We spent time at his home. Unbelievable place, right at the back of Lord's cricket ground.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you know, that sort of thing was just unbelievable to see these things. Yeah. Yeah.
There's some more comments. Let's have a look here. What's Gavin Hogg says? It's Storm Norman at Lockhart's Farm. What is that? Now come now, David. Come.
Gavin Hogg, you're testing me.
How's he going to tell the story
No, I
without
can't.
getting himself into cuck? Yeah, Gavin. That's so funny.
No, listen, that Gavin Hogg knows.
Too much.
Yeah, no,
He knows too much.
No, I just can't tell it just because I can't do it without swearing. And I'm not prepared to
We're okay with
swear.
swearing. No, we're allowed to swear. Yeah, we're allowed to swear. It's okay. There you go, Paul Morrick.
Paul Morrick,
Here
hey,
we
Paul,
go.
how's
Paul.
it? Yeah, his mom works for me.
Oh, excellent. Well,
Lives in
Paul was at
George.
school with me. Is it the
Really?
same Paul Morrick?
I'm
Is it
sure
the same
it'll be.
Paul Morrick there? Or the Morricks are all at VP, I think.
Yeah.
That's Paul Morrick. I know Paul Morrick.
Okay.
Absolutely. Nice to see you, bro. And I see Brian Sarai says, if it was Lockhart's Farm, it could have only been fun.
No,
is that-
Brian, you don't understand. Huge amount of fun.
What is Lockhart's Farm? Is that a
Well,
spot out there?
He's got a farm in Bedford, just outside Bedford. Houses a cricket field there called the MCG.
Oh, wow.
The MCG.
The South African MCG. Yeah.
So he's got because the people do this.
It's called the Mill Cricket Ground.
Okay.
And you just don't get something better. He's extremely proud of it. He's worked hell of a hard at it.
Yeah.
And oh wow, it's probably what I would call a life-changing experience if you're a cricketer to be invited to play a game at the MCG. So
Okay. Obviously, you and Gavin were.
yeah, we played there a few times, and lots and lots of fun. Yeah. He had a crow called Yai, I think, if I remember.
Yai.
Crow, yeah. I can't get down the road.
That's an awesome place, to say the least.
Yeah.
Brian says.
Yeah, Paul Morrick says, yep.
Yep. Okay, so it is the same, Paul. My good. Nice to see you online, Paul. And I'm talking about these cricket grounds because I went to a function. Gary and I went. Actually, it was Ashford, down in
Yes.
Plett.
Yeah. McAdams.
Yes, the McAdams. What an amazing cricket. I mean, he has on his farm, he's doing macadamia nuts and Lord knows what, something else as well. And olives, I think it was olives and macadamia nuts. Amazing. And then he's got this huge oval and with a massive clubhouse, because I think his great grandfather her great grandfather was the Springbok cricketer as well.
Yes.
Played at Lords and
Very famous cricketing family, and again, my history always leaves me, and I've spent quite a lot of time there. His daughter and son-in-law are running it.
yes, Catherine.
Catherine, yeah, and it's just unbelievable.
Yeah,
actually,
it's just amazing.
It's special. It's
amazing.
Really, really. He's an old boy.
Okay, great boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was a grey boy, and the change rooms are the wallpaper in the change rooms. All these newspaper
clippings. Yes.
And the newspaper clippings of his cricket days and his grey days.
Yeah. Okay.
And they put all over the walls and everything. It's
looks
very impressive. It's really impressive.
And he's, I think they had, when we were there, they had St Andrews versus, was it Woodridge or I can't
I think
remember.
it was they always do a St Francis thing.
St
and
Francis.
There's a grey day there as well.
Yeah,
And Catherine's an unbelievable host.
she is. She is. It was
Yeah,
amazing.
she
too.
laid it on, and really it was an incredible place to be. And very. I think, Neil, you asked me about grey. I think the people I've met throughout the world are just incredible. And maybe for the people that are resident in South Africa, maybe this will mean something to the rest of the people. Yeah, I'm yet to meet anybody. We work on a 50% basis of returning boys from overseas, and 50% of the returning people. I'm yet to meet one that said he doesn't hanker to come back to South Africa.
Yeah.
I was actually gonna ask you. It's staggering, and you can see when you have a reunion weekend, the amount of interaction from your classmates. We're all on WhatsApp groups, and they are, as you say, they're in New York, they're in Australia, they're in the UK. So I can see the pool of potential grey boys to come back home, because we have a staggering amount of old greys who are not even in the country anymore.
Yeah.
It is. I think, I always sit and think, I know I don't want to get too deep. We're here for a light-hearted conversation, but you often wonder if you could have brought all those guys home. What else could have happened, and instead of people pouring out of the country, what difference could we have made here?
Yeah.
Are you seeing guys coming back, or not really?
Neil, I would have said it's 50-50 at the moment. You see the occasional guy coming back and the occasional guy leaving, I think I'd like to commend, I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but I would like to commend the current mayor of Port Elizabeth.
Fantastic.
Or Gqeberha.
He's just been on the show a little while ago.
Okay, yeah.
Fantastic guy.
I personally have noticed a major change in Port Elizabeth.
Yeah.
I've noticed the litter seems to be less.
Yeah.
I know we still have litter. I understand there's a long process too, but I really have felt there's a difference in Port
I
Elizabeth.
think we all have.
I've seen the roads being swept here, even in Target Cliff here. I noticed that the road was swept the other day. A whole lot of workers on there, getting it ship shape, and it is looking better. But
I think what Dave's getting to is that if you have a city that you can be proud to come back to,
yes, we'll get those guys.
It becomes okay a proper consideration.
Absolutely.
You can't do that without good city leadership.
Absolutely, and it becomes financially viable too.
Yeah.
For somebody to return.
Yeah.
So you need to keep your hospital strong, your roadworks strong, your those sort of things. Your doctor's good, and people will hanker for that. And for me, I'd like to commend the mayor of Port Elizabeth for what he's done.
Fantastic.
And let's hope he can continue.
It looks like it's storm clouds over there at the moment, but we've got to try and support if we can.
Absolutely.
Because and you changing another mayor now is just going to be a disaster. Doesn't matter who he is.
And it's a frivolous no motion.
It is.
No confidence motion.
What's the point? What is the point?
Wow.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
It's an incredible thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to touch quickly if we tap back to sport. the health of schoolboy rugby. Grey's a big rugby school. Weinberg taught us a lesson the other day. We got the better of Queens. You look at Grey Bloom. I saw them against Paul the other day on the TV. The Grey Bloom boys looked like men playing against boys.
Huge.
The Grey First 15 team this year is not the biggest unit, but it's all cyclical, Dave. And what is your sort of take on where schoolboy rugby is? Is it too serious, or is it in a good place?
You're asking a very, very difficult
I know.
question.
Sorry.
No.
Just interested to hear your thoughts. Yeah.
If I had to give you my personal thoughts,
Yeah.
my personal thoughts are that I love schoolboy rugby. I really, really love schoolboy rugby. What a lot of people forget is you go and play a school like Paul Roos.
Yeah.
They've got double the numbers than what a PE school has got. So their talent pool is bigger. You then play St Andrews 3 weeks later, and they are 50% the size of a PE school.
Yeah.
Okay, so their talent pool is smaller than what a Grey and you play a Grey Bloom, their talent pool is as equal to the size. And if you don't mind, I'm kind of just putting question marks around the exact size of these schools. But you know, do you want to actively engage by bringing learners into your school because they're good rugby players, or a good chess player, or a good musician, and do you want to compete? The difficulty for me is that if you don't compete, for somebody that does show that talent, then in my opinion they want to be noticed.
Yeah.
And if they're going to, do they want to be at a second tier level or a first tier level? If you know, and rugby no longer, sadly, no longer really have a club level. So you've got your first team.
Yeah, very true.
You've got your first team at school. You've got your varsity cup, and from there, where do you go?
Yeah.
You've got probably from there you've got your jump to Curry Cup, B section, A section, Curry Cup, and from there to your old Super 14 or 15 or your URC. So there's none of that in between anymore, where you can still show your worth and show your way.
Yeah, no, quite right.
The international the international hankering to attract rugby players for their clubs is becoming huge.
Yeah.
And if a boy shows flair to be a good rugby player, it's a very difficult one. Actually, what do you do?
I see where you're going. You're sort of between a rock and a hard place, aren't you?
Yeah. And you know, a school like Grey will go through a patch where you'll end up with some exceptional rugby players, and you're very lucky to have that when that happens. But do you want to bring in a whole bunch more boys to strengthen your rugby, or strengthen your hockey, or strengthen your cricket? Or
because the argument is that's why you have the school in the first place, to build your own talent. But it's not a perfect world.
So you bring in the artificially sort of strengthen it, and it becomes like a.
But then you
strengthen those guys. So they're playing
you,
that league.
You ideally want to strengthen the crop that you've got. But then you look at the Weinberg game, for example, and you look at the crowds that these schoolboy rugby games pull. And I mean, they're getting TV coverage now. And I mean,
amazing. I love that.
It's just so important for the sort of stature and profile of both schools on the field, that you're producing quality schoolboy rugby, because people don't go and watch club rugby anymore, as you say. This is what people go and watch.
I was looking at Rob Taylor's comment
Hello, Rob. Rob, how's it? Just looking at the Grey Bloom results, the lower side's got thumped by Paul.
I think the Western Cape schools are putting in huge efforts into their rugby at the moment.
time.
Paul Jim, Paul Roos, Paul Boys High, Weinberg. You know, I think they're trying to get out of the game at the moment. So it's like it's a question that I've never actually been able to answer myself. And you know, you get those old boys that are seriously passionate about it. They want to win rugby.
Yeah.
They want to win. Okay, and they want to beat Grey Bloom and and
It's always been this thing, college and Grey.
yeah, and they want to beat Grey Bloom and they want to beat them regularly. And I actually understand that too. I do understand it. It's a case of how do you manage the whole process of it, and you know. How do you keep everybody happy at the end of the day?
So many of these oaks getting into the Springbok teams. These huge flipping Grey Bloom guys.
No, ridiculous. But then hockey, also a love of yours. You look at you look at the Friday night hockey. That Astra. I mean, there were thousands of people around that Astra. I mean, you and I, when we were at school, there was no such thing as Astros.
Yeah.
Now every self-respecting school has got an Astro, and it's a whole different ball game and niche, isn't it?
It's incredible.
It's fantastic.
It's absolutely incredible to see a hockey match on a Friday evening, and it seems to be creeping into all the schools where it's.
Look,
and it's
Clarendon
something
Park Primary putting in an Astro.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean that's a primary school.
I used to put my
Just
tent
in a-
on my parents' night.
But I mean, it's nice to see. You know, it is really nice. To see. I see Rob Taylor says we all want a piece of 1984.
You want a piece of 84.
Well, we won that year. We beat Grey Bloom.
We beat Grey Bloom that year.
On the then.
I see
Phillip field.
Dion Joubert's got a little thing that he put in a couple of comments. There's a lot more leaving that thing instead of staying.
Right.
He's saying,
He's probably right.
And it's a sad part. He says there, but it's still an amazing country. He just returned from abroad on a business trip, and he still loves this beautiful country. I thank you, Dion, and you know, if we can get things right here, and I. You know, if everybody pulls together, it can be done. It can be done. We get the keep the mayor here. Let's keep it. You know, Rajiv's done a fantastic job. We need to just keep that stability in here, and get things moving from a just basic the basic stuff right. The public transport, the roads, stuff like that. We get it right, and we'll be okay.
Well, it's the old saying: Rome wasn't built in the day, and it's the same with the metro. It's the same with Grey High School. I mean, it's got a fantastic history, and all these and good schools in a city are absolutely invaluable, because you living in Joburg and you've had enough of Joburg, and you think, well, where do I want to settle? And you circle PE, because it's got great girls' schools, great boys' schools.
Yeah.
Schools are an integral part of your a successful metro.
So right, you're so right. There's Garth saying the Invincibles of '76. Sound like a bunch of crocs, Glenn Garth Webster.
Do you know what I find lovely about Garth Webster?
What?
He's probably the most colourful character.
Yeah,
I know.
probably.
Other than you with this nice.
He's proper. He gives me a run for my money.
You get a run for your money.
No, he does. Yeah.
But you know, driving down Walmer,
Yes.
it has to be said
Main Road Warmer.
that I can't wait to drive past his place.
Yeah, because
Because I never know what's coming up next.
The chalkboard.
You know,
What
the
his message of
chalkboard.
the day is. Yeah.
it's got Webster's
Unbelievable,
flooring
right?
there, the chalkboard. Yeah,
and
every time.
Also been a very faithful guy to me. Garth, always a guy that always gives you a nice punch in the chest and says,
Yes.
great, keep going and everything else. Lovely human being.
Lovely, man.
Love Garth. Yeah.
And the 85ers won the game along with the exceptional linesman, he says. 85 from Rob Bessenger.
Rob Bessenger.
Chief is Bunter.
Everybody got their names.
Yeah, I know. Naughty baby.
Bunter.
Naughty baby. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I wanted to mention to you guys tonight that, you know, one of the things that I had seen, and you passed me a Charles.
Yes. Fires. Yes.
I belong. Fires. Yes. I belong to a society called the Charles Glass Society.
Okay. Yes.
And there was a guy by the name of Donovan Austin who's taken it over, and Donovan and his boss John Els have been through Tavcor, have helped me personally a lot with Old Grey.
Yes.
But Donovan took over Charles Glass.
Okay.
And Charles Glass was a wonderful thing. It was a wonderful society of going along to a bar. They go to a different bar each meeting once a month.
Okay.
Donovan, forgive me, but I think the third Thursday of every month. And we go to a different bar, and it's normally a good joel and
Yeah.
everything. Donovan changed it, and he made it, if I can say, almost business-fied it.
Yeah.
And now he has speakers,
Okay.
and or he'll have
That's
a
much
rugby
more-
player, or he'll have a cricket player, or what I'm saying
Yes,
is if
yes.
there's a cricket team or a rugby team or a soccer team in Koberga, he'll
Yeah.
bring them in and they'll address you, or you'll get an interesting business guy, an investment guy, or something, and he's changed this thing, and we all walk in our red tops, and you sort of take over a bar,
Yeah.
and it's the most unbelievable thing. It really is, and you want a guy like Donna and be quite good for you
Yes.
one day on the show.
I think so. That sounds like.
He's also a great guy.
So the home of the Charles Glass Society. I mean, it used to be their venue at St George's Park
Still
Cricket
is.
Ground.
Oh, really? Okay.
Still is. Yes.
Still is.
Still is.
Ah.
Yeah.
Castle Corner.
Donovan, it's time I got invited back.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll invite Neil. I will never forget the night he asked Evan Etzebeth.
Oh,
And I had two boys at home. And I phoned my wife and I said, bring them both quickly. And I went up to this man mountain, this giant, absolute giant. And I said to him, listen, I've got one boy that thinks you're Christmas. If I asked him to come here, would you just say hello to him quickly? He said, bring him. No problem."
bring him on.
Yeah. Anyway, I told my wife to phone me when they arrived. So they arrived, and he walked downstairs with me, and he opened the tailgate of the double cab and the canopy. Opened the tailgate, closed the canopy door, so there was like a table sneer.
Yeah.
And he picked each of my boys up like that, just like that. And then he said, "Hello, chaps."
Something I'll never forget.
No, I'll never forget. I think my youngest had eyes this big, looking at this.
love it.
Love it.
We've got a World Cup here coming up, boys.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's it.
Come on,
World
Jeben.
Cup. Yeah.
yeah.
Time to defend that title.
It's World Cup coming. Now,
Sia Khaleesi's against a race against time.
Yeah.
oh, yeah, it's just to get his injuries sorted, eh?
I actually sent him a note of goodwill. I hope he,
okay.
I hope he is ready.
good.
We need him.
We need
No,
him.
we do.
Really need him.
Okay, Dave, we've got a quick one. We got a couple of getting to know you questions, but I can see Gary's typing furiously. He wants to ask a question, I think. But I've got we've got a couple of these questions that we do. The Gary wants to know about the wildlife. You had a game farm before as well.
Yeah,
Which used to do-
we had a game reserve. We were part of a game reserve called
okay.
Inzolo.
Okay.
Three of us started it. Dean Barclay, Paul Lynch, myself. Paul Lynch, we already discussed Dean, but
Yeah.
Paul is very involved in life saving at Kings Beach.
Okay.
And also one of those guys who's really been involved in the community, really been involved, very involved at Woodridge, close friend of mine, like Dean. And we started this thing. It was something that happened around a table, and it happened in a few hours. Yeah, I've always been interested in wildlife. I've
So
always
you
had
had
a
like
massive
a
passion for it. Yeah.
Did you just get together and decide you were gonna?
We were offered a farm at like 2:00, and we bought it by 5:00. That's what it
Oh,
was like.
it's really.
Yeah, and
Jeez,
Crazy.
yeah, I'd always had a love for wildlife.
But I mean,
Always had.
the Hurrs, the Barclays, you're talking about the butts,
Lynches.
the butts, and is this all Albany stock? eh? Not.
No, Barclays and Lynch's not.
No, okay.
And
The Hurrs?
us
1820 seatless.
through a marriage, yeah,
Okay,
down that level, yeah.
Okay.
And it goes back into the lower Albany area there.
Yeah.
Where those chaps, they always said, when they had a drought, they always said, look here, but it's so bloody dry out here, we're going to fax our sheep to the abattoir.
I love it.
And when it's wet,
And it's wet, and they used to say, hell, but it's wet here, we're going to take our potatoes out with a prawn pump.
Tighties. I like that.
those expressions are just.
No.
But that's so settler stuff. isn't it?
Wooden swan.
They are just the most likable people in the world. It's just like unbelievable. It's So I was very involved in the world out there,
Okay.
in the wildlife industry. Unfortunately, COVID murdered us.
Yeah.
And we ended
The
up selling.
tourists basically come in
Just
there a lot.
closed down, bang, 2.5 years,
Yeah.
And I think actually they're only just starting to come right.
Sure.
I think they're just starting to come back into that. And we didn't have that long-term institutional time in it.
Yeah.
But when you've been in that industry and lived in that world, you see another side of people. You really see another side of people. It's an incredible thing. I think there we bred my famous story there was we bred a tame buffalo.
A tame buffalo.
Yeah,
Yes,
I found
I didn't know there was such a thing.
a pala pala.
I found a calf that had been born and the mother had passed away, and I found the calf under the bush lying next to the mother. Loaded the little buffer up on the front seat of my bakkie and took it home and phoned a very close mate of mine. His name is William Folds, Dr. William
Oh,
Folds.
yes. You've
Leading-
got to get on the show as well sometime.
Yeah, you must get him on
William
there.
Folds.
And
Yeah.
he, there I see, that was on Amakala where Bill Aka Tickbird Folds is.
What is that?
Quite right.
Tickbird Folds.
So this little buffalo became a big
Neil, it became
domestic
a
buffalo.
house pet.
Jeez.
And it was unbelievable how this whole thing worked. And there's a certain side to buffalo from a family point of view of running in a herd and all this sort of thing. And we didn't know what to do. Eventually, we tamed it up with a sheep. And the sheep and the buffalo became best friends. And I've got 2 Jack Russells, and the sheep, the buffalo, the sheep, and the 2 Jack Russells were best friends. And they used to all sleep together. It was the most incredible scene. I think you used to drive around the back of your bakkie with you on the farm with the dogs and a sheep
And a buffalo.
Yeah, and a buffalo. Yeah, and
But shouldn't it start to get too big?
well, that was where it got difficult.
Yeah.
And-
like a 3-ton thing getting
Oh,
in your
my
back
word.
seat of your car is not like a...
Anyway, we got to a point where she was getting too big. Her name was Bella. And every single guest that came to Inzolo wanted to see Bella and touch Bella and scratch Bella. And we got to the day where she had to go home. We were very blessed. We had some drought-stricken animals, and I put them into the boma so I could try and feed them. And we had lucerne, and we were feeding them lucerne, and I thought, nah. So we put Bella in with them.
Yeah.
And these 3
Some
cows,
wild buffaloes.
Yeah, with some wild buffaloes.
Okay,
And
wow.
these 3 buffalo adopted her.
Okay,
Wow.
so they solved the problem for you.
Yeah.
Yo.
And we were very nervous as to what would happen when she met the herd again,
Yeah.
as to whether they would accept her or not accept her.
Yeah.
Anyway, they accepted her. And I think the 3 cows sort of took it over. So, yeah.
Okay,
so it was
happily ever after story
happily
there.
ever after.
I thought you were going to shoot it.
No!
So off they trotted into the sunset.
Off they went, yeah.
fantastic.
And she's still there.
Oh, she's still there.
Yeah, she's
beautiful.
still around. And same story
Love
as William with Tandy, just not quite as vicious. But
Carl Baumeister saying hello there. How's it, Carl? Nice to see you as well, man. Looking good, thank you. I suppose he's talking about me there.
No doubt.
left off on our wood.
All right, are we going to do a little bit of a getting to know you section? Let's do it. Let's do it.
Get to know all about you.
Pass. You can say pass. You can, if you've got a story, you tell us a story. If you haven't, then you lost it.
Okay.
Okay. So, what is something that people would be surprised to learn about you? Let's say, Dave.
That I can get a bit emotional when I.
Emotional.
Yeah. Definitely.
You're not talking verdriet here, though.
No.
That
just, just struggled through an old boys dinner the other day.
Oh, really?
Very badly. Yeah.
My
But
word.
made it.
Okay, good. The most physically painful thing you've ever seen.
Thanks, Brendan.
Thanks, man. It was a hard journey for us. Brendan.
Cheers, Brendan.
Brendan, you're a nut. Okay, the most physically painful thing you've ever experienced. Oh dear, is this another Is this another hog story?
Visiting urologist?
Oh, no, that's tough. Yeah, that's tough. Oh dear. Oh no. Okay, the hardest that you've ever worked.
Under my dad.
Really?
Yeah. Proper taskmaster.
Really?
Yeah.
What, doing this? Doing the
IT work,
IT?
building work. He and I built a house together.
Oh, God, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, he's a proper taskmaster now, man.
He's still around?
Yeah, no, he's still around.
Okay, still give me
Seagull, yeah. He's actually going to have a little up next week. So hope he's all good.
We never actually spoke about the fact that you used to come around the pop shop when I used to work there.
Can you believe it, Gino?
I know. You were mates with Norman Colling.
Yeah.
He's a muso as
Yeah.
well. And Dave used to come. Well, did you used to play guitar or something?
I tried to learn.
But you came in there a lot.
Well, I kept breaking strings.
You never got it right though.
No, I've never got it right. At one stage, who was the eminent child?
It's Darren.
Darren
Darren Peets, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Darren. Darren, I think, actually wanted to break a guitar.
Oh,
over
he
my
give
head
you
one day.
lessons?
Yeah, for a while. Then I really wanted to beat me up with a guitar.
Because you lived just around the corner.
Yes, that's right.
On the corner.
You used to come past on a skateboard. And
I was in
around.
Westbourne Road and opposite Upton's there, and you were just around the corner. Used to come walking around. I used to come on rollerblades.
Yeah.
I got to know
remember
Dave
it
quite
so
well then. I remember that. Okay, the luckiest thing that's ever happened to you.
Oh, I can tell you that.
What?
I asked Gavin earlier today when it was, but we won the lotto.
Won the lotto.
Yeah, we won the lotto.
Oh
Yeah,
my
our
God.
hockey team won the lotto.
The hockey team.
Yeah,
Did you
the
all
whole-
put in this?
Yeah, but we started off with 11 guys and 4 reserves on the team. But by the time we knew our whole team, it was actually the whole Pirates club.
Yeah, okay.
Wanted to share
They
our
wanted to share the
lotto
loot.
prize.
So did you have like money left? What was it?
£5
£5 left
in a glass.
In
And
a
we'd
glass.
already tipped the waiters and waitresses.
Said
We
£5.
had £5. It was stuck in the bottom of the glass. And Arthur Jacobs, wonderful oak too.
Yeah.
Proper Italian mate of mine. Italian mate of mine.
Italian. I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it. It's
yeah.
good.
And his wife, very good tennis player and loved tennis as well. But Jake's a real solid hockey citizen, and he took out a lotto ticket and we won it. I can't even remember how much money it was.
But you want
it
a
was
proper,
lot.
proper amount of money.
no.
That was a proper
We got a
amount.
weekend away for everybody.
Yes. You went out
And I'm not telling any more stories after that about that trip.
a weekend away for the whole
The
club.
whole club just about.
Good Lord, man.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to get your lotto money?
No.
Quick.
Yeah,
Neil, it's so long ago, I can't really remember, but I can tell it was a hell of a lot of fun.
Fantastic.
And deciding how we spent it was going to be even bigger problem.
I'm sure with the whole club now, you're going to share the story. What a nightmare. Okay, your biggest irrational fear?
Being taken parachuting.
Parachuting. No jumping out of planes.
And not deep sea diving either.
Oh, right.
No.
You don't mind deep sea fishing, though? You like
No, I love deep sea fishing. But,
You like it?
but as long as my head's up to order.
Okay, right. But you say you don't fish so well. You just
No, I don't fish well, I just drive around.
okay,
Drink beer.
drink the beer as well.
I saw a photo of you in the boat with some nice fish. So
you catch
selling
some?
yourself short.
We do catch occasionally.
Okay, it is. So, who do you go out with deep sea?
No, I've got a little boat.
You've got a boat yourself.
Yeah, I've got a little boat. But I'm not going to say we're very good.
Okay, all right.
Russell Edshade will be sitting at home going, Russell Edshade just won the Tuna Classic, also a great mate of mine.
Did he win the Tuna Classic?
He won the Tuna Classic at St. Francis
Wow.
now a couple of weeks back.
Okay.
And
Is that Chappie's brother?
yes,
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
yeah, proper fisherman. And he would agree with what I was telling
All
you.
right, so
Not
not
a
so
great
good. So
fisherman.
there was a fluke then. Right. Oh my word! The most crazy thing you've done in the name of love?
Oh, I'm trying to remember. Pass.
Pass. Pass.
Much safer that way.
Nikki, let us know what it is. This is Nikki, eh?
Nikki's my sister.
Oh, so
wife,
not. Okay. Bev. Oh, it's Bev then. Well,
Bev,
Nikki will probably
Bev.
know about it anyway. Yeah. She would-
It was probably a safe pass there.
Bev, let us
I'm
know.
not safe for that
Remind him, Bev. Remind him. What was the craziest thing he did in the name of love? I'll give her a minute. Okay, your favorite singer or band?
Definitely Queen.
Queen.
Oh.
Freddie.
Definitely.
He's the man. He's the man.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I'll tell you something else. You chaps.
Oh, you like it? Center stage.
Yeah.
You like
I
it?
think UX are world
It's a
class.
vibe.
Yeah,
vibe.
and I think you guys are really world class. What you do for the PE community, unbelievable.
You
Got
know,
to bring another Queen shot.
we're gonna
Yeah.
no, we're doing. We've got something up our sleeve. Actually,
Fantastic.
we're working on now. It's going to be great.
We'll take a table now.
I'll give you. I think it's going to be called the Fantastic Five. The Fantastic Five. We've got
Fantastic.
Playing at Old Grey now.
Yeah, no, well, you're there, and also
And
at the Hellenic as well. I think we're possibly going to do. But we're going to see. We're going to check some moves out.
Fantastic.
Let's see. The biggest learning experience you've ever had.
Being national president of Olga,
Really?
I think that's taught me a lot. It's taught me how to deal with people and rights and wrongs and all that stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
incredible.
Good bunch of guys. Well, I think that's the lot here. Some plans for the future. What you doing in the future? What's anything that
We're going to do a lot more Seagull racing.
Yes, I like that. I like it.
Yeah.
You're gonna relax a bit.
I'm going to play some paddle tennis.
Hey yo, go in there.
Yeah.
You love Michael Jackson, says Nikki. So you love Michael
there
Jackson.
you,
Yeah, Nikki says you love Michael
yeah,
Jackson.
no, I like Michael Jackson. I used to really enjoy his music too.
Good,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, there we go.
Wendy's saying, yeah.
I just can't dance like you.
All right, no, that's a bullshit thing. Wendy says, yeah, and Wendy, yes, Wendy will be doing our tickets for us as well.
Okay.
Now we're going to give away our Fitch and Leeds. We come to the end of the show. We say thank you to Spa. And Fitch and Leeds always give us, Gary Brown gives us a case of Fitch and Leeds we give to one of the people that are online at the moment. So if you hang around online now we're going to pull the lever. Once Gary's done it, I don't know.
Can I just say something first?
Yes.
Would you mind if I just said
Absolutely,
something?
yeah, please.
Yeah, firstly, I think it's an immense privilege to have been invited here this evening. I'm probably a lot more subdued than everybody else that's been on the show. But I think what you guys, all of you, Neil, you, Gary, Gary Hemmings, what you guys do for PE, or what do we call it? Kabeja. What you guys do is unbelievable. And I think it's an upliftment
Thank you.
to people. And Neil, I think your voice has been synonymous with the radio. And, Gary, and behind the scenes, and driving it and everything. I think what you guys do for Kabeja is just unbelievable.
Thanks, Dave.
And I think everybody needs to give you a bloody warm round of applause because really you guys are phenomenal.
We're trying to build. We're trying to build.
Yeah,
It's just, we need to stick together to build, to make this place a better place. And as far as the guests go, we're getting out there. We try and going to try some new stuff as well. We've got Neil coming on doing the Sports Biscuit, which I think is going to be great fun.
Yeah.
With Fire's doing the firing on all cylinders. We've got Sandy Coffee doing her coffee break where she does the more emotional stuff as well. She's very good with that. And then of course Dean Allen's been amazing. Dean, what a legend. He's coming to this town doing the book for Adrian Gardner, but also doing a pile of other stuff. And he's like a buffalo. He's like one of your buffaloes coming in.
But I think, Gino, while we're getting all sentimental here for a second, we need to give Dave some huge
Absolutely.
kudos. I mean, I
Fantastic
think
show.
everyone got a little bit of an insight into this man's life. Is a very full book with lots of pages and lots of pictures and lots of incredible stories. So kudos to you, Dave, for everything that you've done. I think you've been an inspiration to many people whose circles you walk in, and hopefully more of the general public have got a bit of a glimpse of you tonight.
For sure.
So hats off to you, bud.
No, thank you. I really appreciate it. And I know that tonight I'm going to miss talking about some people that I should have probably spoken about. And to those guys out there, I know I forgot. I just look at my notes. And
He's got a million notes. He hasn't looked
I forgot
at
to
them all.
mention Scott Rollo, who took over from Gary Simon, the Old Grey Club.
Yes.
And I know a lot of the people that have commented and everything mentioned are very well known at Old Grey. And also to Scott and the entire team. And honestly, the people that have helped me over the last 20, 30 years, it's been absolutely phenomenal and made easier by having guys and being surrounded by people like you people.
Thank
Really.
you. Thanks, Dave. And
Thank
I'm
you.
sure those
Thank you.
guys, if you have forgotten anybody, they'll put it in the comments and they'll cuck on you in the comments. give you shit in the comments for getting. But you could obviously put in the comments, and Dave will. You can reply to all these comments as well later. There's a million of them. And but thank you. We've got. Okay, we're going to pull the lever now on this thing. Let's see if Gary can get it on the screen. I don't know if it's going to. It's got a graph. Let's see. There we go. We're ready for the draw. We're going to draw the lucky winner tonight. And see who's on. What? One on Bandits. Okay. And Michelle Kelly! You know, after Brendan's bloody comments.
Just don't be quiet.
Yeah. I say whenever Brendan's away, I'll go around and say hello. You know, we go, Michelle and I will put, you know, when Brendan's away doing all his work and stuff. Thank you. Well done, Michelle. We'll get hold of your details. And thank you for joining us. Thank you, Dave. Thank you. Fantastic.
Thank you, Gino.
Bissy.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank you.
And I'm glad we got the Sports Biscuit started. Thanks to Spa. Thanks to Spa. And thanks to Fitch Leeds for our prize. And of course, Amovia for our internet.
Thanks, Gary.
Yes, guys.
Gary.
See you next week.
Sit down, coming out of PE town. One drink, find a shot. Never mind your liver, get to Gino's spot.
Gino spot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino spot.
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle. Have a Gino shot.
Gino shot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino spot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino spot.
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle. Get to Gino's spot.